We're live. Hello.
Yo, Adam, we're
Well,
live.
let's see if I can make my speakers work. Can somebody say something?
Hello,
Hello, hello, hello.
we're
Oh,
live.
this is how you start a Hump Day Hangout with broken headphones, apparently. All right. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to Hump Day Hangouts. We're going to get into the questions after we have a couple of quick announcements. And I pull up the page I'm looking for. Anyways, I'm going to defer for a minute, introduce everyone, and then we will have those announcements. So, Chris, hopefully your headphones are working today. How are you doing?
Yeah, man, and working excellent. You're like doing good. Can't complain. Nice day here. So yeah,
All right.
it's so sweet.
Sounds good. Marco, how about you, man? Looks like, pretty good weather, I guess.
Man, it's as if I lived in the tropics, man. I don't know why. Who knew, right? But yeah, last Wednesday we had 6 straight days of rain, man, and it was like on. Let me see on Sunday. I can't remember. We just had so much rain, but then Sunday it was beautiful. Monday, last couple of days is back to rainy season weather. Beautiful mornings, kind of overcast and rainy afternoons. But I won't complain, man. I'm living the life I want to live because I'm a pofu. One thing I was told yesterday that my biggest fan is Jennifer. She's been listening to me for like 3.5 years. She's 12 years old now. So she's been listening to me since she was 8. Oh, man. So I don't know how to feel about that because I'm thinking, do I want my son listening to me? Anyway, it's awesome. She's the one, I think I mentioned her. She's the one who wants to charge $1,500 an hour. She doesn't know what she's going to charge it for, but she's going to charge $1,500 an hour. She's awesome. You just keep doing the do you do, and you're going to get there. So
That's awesome.
shout out to Jennifer, man.
Outstanding. Well, I was going to move on, but real quick before we do that, I realize we introduce ourselves and say how things are going. But for those of you who are watching today, how are things going for you? If you feel like it, you can join the weather talk and let us know how the weather is. But just say hi, let us know you're watching, and say hello. I know we have some people who watch and absorb, and that's great. But also just drop a note and say hello. So Hernan, how about you, man? How are you doing?
Doing great, man. I've been in back-to-back calls for the past couple of days for some reason. So when I'm on back-to-back calls, nothing gets done. So what I'm trying to do is to block out Mondays and Thursdays with no calls, no meetings, nothing. So I can actually get some stuff done, and that's been helping quite a lot. So because otherwise Tuesday I had something like 14 calls or something like that, and then today was kind of similar. So anyways, trying to do that. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, man, good on you. I know you're more outgoing in that sense than I am. I hit my limit around 4 or 5. I think on Tuesdays I have 5, and I am tapped out, man. At the end of that day, I fell asleep on the couch at 8 o'clock at night, just exhausted from talking to people. So good on you. Bradley, how about you, man?
I'm good. Super busy. I'll give you a little tease as to what I've been doing. We're in the process. We've talked about this of updating Syndication Academy. We're going to relaunch that with all brand new updates and everything. And so IFTTT has the for free accounts to only be able to create 3 apps. Well, we have a pro account, which allows us to create unlimited amount of apps, and you can actually publish them as a pro account too. But it's been so long since I've had to go in and set up all those the applets because, we've had builders doing it for us now for years. And I have to go in and recreate all of the applets. And to be honest, it's the interface is a little bit different when you create applets to publish as on a pro account. It's like a different format and everything else. And so I've had to go through, and I've spent the entire day trial and erroring applets. And now I remember why I trained virtual assistants to do it for me because I fucking hate it. It's so tedious, but it's really cool because now we have share URLs that we'll be able to, provide for Syndication Academy as well as to our builders to where they can just go in and set up the applets very easily by just swapping out their RSS feed URLs, for example. So they don't have to do any coding at all. It's really, really cool. And I'm glad that this is getting done. Hopefully I'll have it done by this evening. And Syndication Academy will be updating and relaunching that shortly. Can't give you an exact date on that, but we've got some updates and surprises prior to the launch of that we're going to be bringing to you guys in the coming weeks. So
definitely. And to jump on the upcoming but can't say too much train, we definitely got some good stuff cooked up for Black Friday weekend, which is coming up after Thanksgiving in the US. If you're familiar with that, if you're not, that's going to be on November 27th. We're going to have some great stuff going around the 26th, maybe 27th for the few days. So if you're not on the Semantic Mastery email list and you're watching this, head over to Semantic Mastery, sign up right there. If you're on the watch page right now, you can just scroll down and hop on over there.
Yeah. By the way, sorry, Adam, to interrupt you, but as usual, we try to over deliver as much as possible. So Black Friday is not going to be different, both for Semantic Mastery and MGYB. We try to give you guys mind-blowing deals, and this is not going to be any different. So stay tuned because it's going to be pretty awesome.
I mentioned to you guys yesterday during our corporate meeting and I mentioned it to my other people in the mini mastermind meeting, how just using our stuff, just using it the way that it's supposed to be used. I took a client, 1,200% gain in earnings in 4 months. 1,200%. That's not a mistake. That's not a blurb. That's not a beep. That's a hockey stick. So over that period, it looks like boom. So, and like I was telling you guys, let's say it dips, I don't know, 10, 20% before bouncing back up. Well, we're still at around 900%. So in a month, because it'll do the dance. It'll still do over 1 million links plus press release plus all of these other things that we do. Post the way that we do them. Everything, all of the training and everything that we make available in Semantic Mastery, everything that's going to be available on Black Friday at a discount, which you guys know, I hate giving our shit away. I hate it. But I mean, it is what it is. We've gotten our people used to it. I'm not going to oppose it, although I am. But dude, I was telling my guys last night, what the fuck is keeping all of you from just going and just burying the competition? Just bury them. Just do it. It's systematic. And if you need more, you just apply more. And you charge the client for it. It doesn't come out of your pocket. You're supposed to offer the services and mark it up so that you benefit. And then when you get that hockey stick effect, you got to have a clause. Of course, I don't have contracts. What I have is a recording that we talked about. We'll look at it we looked at it after 90 days, and then at the 6-month period, we'll look at it again, just because of that. Because when that hockey stick takes effect, I want to be able to charge for that. I don't want to charge what I'm charging now. I want to be able to charge that 1,200% markup that or gain in business that he's getting. I want to benefit from that too. So you got to get all of this working. But the way to do it is follow the system. The system's in place. It's been in place for years. And why are you people not benefiting from the fucking system? That's what upsets me most. That's what upset me, that we've been offering this for years and years and years. Your way to go and make that money to rank and bank, and you don't do it. Why? I'm done.
Rant over.
All right, well, before we get into the questions, I popped a couple links on the page and just wanted to follow up on that. So if you're new to Semantic Mastery and MGYB, first of all, thanks for watching. We've got some free information is where you should usually start out, right? So head over to theseoshield.com, right? the SEOshield.com. You can find out about, shielding your site. You hear us talk about SEO shields, this other stuff. It can be a lot. We get it. So go to theseoshield.com, find out about how you'll never have to worry about algorithm updates ever again. All right. Now, if you're an agency owner or a consultant and you want to get more clients, you want to grow your revenue, you want to scale your team. So that should be 3 yeses for most people. If you want to find out more about that, head over to 2xyouragency.com. And last but certainly not least, for those of you who do already have agencies, you've got a digital marketing business, maybe you've got a physical business that you're wanting to grow online, then you want to join us in the mastermind at mastermind.semanticmastery.com. I'm not going to bore you to death with reading you there about what that's all about. You can find out, but it's about having an experienced community. I think all of us here are part of other communities as well as our own mastermind. And we know and recognize the role that plays in growing our businesses and expanding our horizons. And last, but certainly not least of all, I guess it's a second last today, is head over to mgyb.co. That's the done for you services. You hear us talking about the SEO Shield, syndication networks, link building, press releases, all that sort of good stuff. You can get it all done for you at mgyb.co. All right. So with that said, you guys, unless there's anything else we need to cover, let's get into it.
Sweet. All right, we got the screen.
Wayne says, Chris, move your camera down unless you're naked. What are you hiding, dude?
Probably naked.
Internet marketing lifestyle, man.
That's right.
Oh, man. All right. We got your screen, Bradley.
You got it?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So it looks like Alana's the first question, and I know she says she sorted it out already as the follow-up, but I'll just briefly read it and answer it. Hi, guys. You mentioned using RankMath for indexing last week. Just wondering if you know if you can use that feature, meaning like, can you only use that? Yeah, because, and this is what I was mentioning, it's called the Instant Indexing for Google, right? That's the name of the plugin by RankMath. It's an add-on. So no, you don't need to install the RankMath plugin, which has like a ton of different modules and all that stuff. You don't have to do that. Just install this separately on its own. That's it. And again, it's just this one feature which will connect your WordPress site. I mean, you have to go through the developers console in Google and set up the billing, and then you have to turn on the instant or the indexing API, download a JSON code, and then you upload that to the WordPress plugin settings, and that's it. Once you're done, then every time you update a post or a page, it will automatically send it to the through the indexing API directly to Google. And there's also in the settings tab, there's a little window where you can go in and insert links there and ask for Google to index them. So again, it's a great little plugin. I've got this installed on multiple sites now, and I've been using it for about 2 weeks, and it's a really, really cool plugin. Again, it doesn't cost anything. You do have to pay for the credits or API usage, but you get $300 in credits for free for the first year to use when you sign up or enable billing on your developer's account, so your Google account. All right, so it's unlikely that you'll hit those limits. Go ahead.
Please get rid of that bloatware. Please.
Yeah, I know.
Please.
That was the follow-up. She says she wants to stick with, or Alana says wants to stick with Yoast for everything else. And I was waiting for Marco to say why.
SEO Ultimate.
Yeah.
Jeffrey's a friend. Jeffrey's we're like this, Samantha Mastery and Jeffrey. So let's be crystal clear about this and transparent. We love Jeffrey. Do we have an affiliate for SEO Ultimate? If we don't, we should. We love Jeffrey. He's active in his group. I meet with him every Wednesday. Not only is he a great guy, but he just does great stuff. And his teaching is beyond awesome. If you happen to catch the webinar that we did with Heavy Hitter, where he came on to talk about entities, that was worth the price of admission. For the price of the first 2 months is what Jeffrey shared. And that one happened to be for free. I think it's in the training area, but I can't say enough about Jeffrey Smith and his training, SEO Ultimate Bootcamp, the plugin, just everything that he's doing, man.
Yeah, I totally agree. I finally got around to starting to implement the semantic tags.
Yeah.
Through the SEO Ultimate Pro plugin, and that's crazy powerful too. And I waited all this time to really start implementing that, but I just started digging into that this week actually, and it's sick.
Remind me to share some wickedness about tags with you.
Sure.
In private.
All right. So next says NYK says, when mapping your Google news site to a custom domain name, does both the Google news site and the new custom domain name site both remain indexed in Google, or does the new Google site eventually get de-indexed? Just wondering if there was a hack to get them both ranking highly. No, when you do custom domain mapping, I haven't done it with the new sites, but I'm sure I'm not sure, but I assume it's the same as when mapping a custom domain to the classic Google sites, in that both sites can remain indexed. However, the Google site on the sites.google.com domain is canonicalized to the custom domain. So in other words, there's a canonical in the HTML header of the new Google site that links or that sets the canonical URL to the custom domain. So by Google's own, practices, that means the new Google site should eventually fall out of the index because it's canonicalized to the custom domain. However, that gives you an opportunity to have a kind of like a ghost site out there that you can use for link building still.
Wicked stuff.
To the Google Sites domain, and it still pushes through to your custom domain. So there's some pretty ninja stuff that you can do with that. But I typically don't go through that trouble anymore. I did originally when we first started doing that several years ago, but now I don't even bother. I just use the Google site on the sites.google.com domain, and then that's it. But you can still canonicalize it as far as I know.
Well, you don't canonicalize it. Google does that automatically.
Yes.
Google
if
inserts
you set up a custom domain. Yes.
Right. Now, the great thing about it is that the G site has to stay live until Google comes up with a true content management system, right? Because the CMS is the G site.
That's right.
And so until they come up with that new G site is going to stay live. And there's a lot of wicked stuff you can do to that since it's a Google canonical to your website. Just think that through, and you're going to see how awesome it is that Google keeps that Google site indexed, or it remains part of the index, although I don't think it's going to rank for. Oh, test it.
Yeah.
This is nothing but a test and see, because I stopped doing it also. I stopped creating the custom domains, and I'm just going with G sites because they carry so much power. And so little work.
Yeah. Same thing. And I was doing custom domain mapping for ID pages too, subdomain ID mapping. And I got away from doing that too, because it's just like an extra step that's really unnecessary. You can just use the S3 bucket URL and you're good to go. So, all right, moving on. Next one is Josh. Josh says, how do we target multiple cities within a county? Is that through GMB posts, Facebook ads, Google ads, and PRs that have the city name included? Well, I mean, when you say target multiple cities, like in which way are you attempting to target them? Because you just listed SEO and paid traffic and content marketing and everything else. So if you're talking about, when it comes to Google ads, or if I can't talk about Facebook ads, Hernan could, but when it comes to Google ads, you just pay for whatever keywords you want to target. So whatever search queries, right? If you're talking about search PPC, obviously there's YouTube and display, and you can set geo-targeting for that. But I think your question is more really relevant to SEO, right? And if that's what you're asking, like how do you target multiple cities within a county? Yeah, what I do is what I do for my clients and for lead gen assets is both GMB posts as well as posts optimized on the blog. If there's a money site associated with the project, which most of my projects do have that, then I have my blogger go out and create optimized posts targeting one specific keyword plus one location, a city within a county. So let's say a county has 10 cities within it, or municipalities, towns, unincorporated communities, whatever you want to call them. Let's say there's 10 towns within the county. Then what we do is we optimize blog posts for keyword plus town, right? And so we might end up having 10 blog posts within that one county, because we're targeting a keyword plus the location or a town within that county, and we publish a post for each one of those. And so, and again, Josh, I've talked about this a lot in the mastermind. I know you were in the mastermind briefly, but I don't think you are anymore. But the way that I do siloing for locations is I use tags. Talked about that many, many times. In fact, if you go to semanticmastery.com/process, again, semanticmastery.com/process, I give a very high level overview of how I create location-based silos using WordPress tags. And so again, that's the way that I do it. It works really, really well. There's some really ninja things that you can do with tag pages, especially with the G sites and our SEO Shield methodology. So that's the way that I recommend doing it. But like I said, for paid traffic, it's really about just bidding on your keywords or setting geo-targeting as far as Google ads goes. Hernan, can you comment on Facebook?
Yeah, for sure. First off, totally agree with what you're saying. I think that this is an SEO related question. If you wanted to do with multiple cities within a county, there's a couple of options. The first one is to just collect zip codes. you can put a list of zip codes and the locations of your targeting. That would be number one. The other one would be just, put the name of the city, and then you can do, and then sometimes what I do is to just drop a pin, right? So you can drop a pin and then you would do up to, this city plus 10 miles or this city alone and all of that. So those are the 2-3 ways that you can actually go ahead and do that via zip codes, via the name of the city itself, of the county, and the drop a pin itself. Now, with that being said, when you're doing, and this is a recommendation, when you're doing counties or zip codes, or you drop a pin and then you target a specific area, what I would suggest is that you don't add like any interests on top of that or any like demographic targeting on top of that. The reason why is because usually the Facebook algorithm works a little bit different than Google, and when it comes to Facebook itself, the more you constrict your reach, the more you will pay on a CPM basis, meaning you will pay more per click, you will pay more per 1,000 impressions. So what I would suggest is you drop a pin, you select the zip codes or the city name, and even the county name, and you just leave Facebook to optimize and find out leads or whatever it is that you're trying to do. If you're running a lead gen campaign or a conversion campaign to a landing page, you just let Facebook do its thing, and that's basically how I recommend you do it.
So I'm not going to comment on this as far as ads, because I always get people. I get ads people. They're the experts. I'm not. But I can tell you that if you're what you're targeting is map specific. In other words, when you go to the locations, it triggers a map, and at times it triggers a knowledge panel or both. Then it's GMB posts and press releases done the local GMB Pro way. Because that right. You have to trigger the map pack if it's local specific, meaning that it triggers a map, it triggers a knowledge panel, it triggers a map pack. And so I'm not going to go into details on how to do that, but yes, Bradley's press release stacking, link building, embeds all of that so that you can get that GMB listing to pop in the 3-pack. And if the city is far away from your centroid, meaning that your business is in one city and the next city maybe is 25 miles away, and you're looking to trigger that, then you're going to go with a GMB in that next city and start doing posts and PR stacks and on and on. Now you can get past the proximity filter. You can force your way through. We teach that also in local GMB Pro. So we have the training.
Okay, so something else I want to mention very quickly, if you're going to be using Google Ads, because since Hernan mentioned zip codes, it brought this to my brought this top of mind. But something that I've been doing a lot lately with, especially when you're doing like display ads or YouTube ads and Google ads, right? One of the things that I do for location targeting, it works. For any type of ads, when you're doing geo targeting, setting your geo targeting locations to target within the ad campaign. What I do now is I kind of just went through the process while the other guys were talking, but you only have to do this once. I just wanted to show you kind of what I did, but I go to zip-codes.com. On the left-hand sidebar, you can see where it says other free lookups. I always put the county name in, so I just use Fairfax County, Virginia as an example. So I just typed in Fairfax. Then for the state, put VA in and then hit go. It'll bring up the last page that you saw a minute ago, this one. Then I just click through to the county, and this shows all the different zip codes and the cities within that county, and then their population too. But and again, there might be another tool. This is just a tool I've been using for years, guys. So if there's another tool, that's great. But I'm just showing you how I typically do it. So then I go through and I clean the data. I sort by population, because a lot of these are like PO boxes or unique zip codes that have 0 population. So they're not something that you can physically target because they're not really geographic in that, like they don't have an area. They're just more like, like a PO box, for example. So I just sort by population, and then I delete everything that has 0 population. And what I'm left with now is I know that, and again, I know this is probably small, but I'll zoom in. So what I'm left with now are the city names or the town names within the county and all of the zip codes. Does that make sense? So then what I do is for targeting, and I've opened up a notepad file, is in Google Ads, when you go to set your geolocations or your targeted locations, then what you do is you just add in that. So for example, the first one would be Fairfax County, then it would be comma, Virginia, comma, United States. Okay. So this is how you would add, if you add locations in bulk. So when you go in at your geo-targeting or add, targeted locations, you can click on a little radio button that says add locations in bulk. So I format all of this up front. And then all I do is just copy and paste from my notepad file into there and click search and then click target all. But I'd scroll through and eliminate anything that doesn't quite line up the way that it's supposed to. But typically the way that I'll do it is like Fairfax County would be the broadest of service areas, right? But then I want to go through and I want to literally target all of these city names within, and I'm going to show you guys how to get super granular on this just because it works really, really well for Google ad targeting. And let me explain why, and then I'll get back to this. When people are doing searches from mobile devices, especially, in fact, if I were to go over to, let's go here for a minute and just click into Google and search. In fact, let me close that for a minute and open up a fresh version of this. I think this is a really good question. That's why I'm going through this, guys. So just stand by for a minute. Let's see. Firefox is freaking out on me for some reason. All right. So if I go to Google and I just do a quick search for, let's just say, tree service, Fairfax, VA. Okay. If we scroll down to the bottom down here, you'll see that it's showing my location based upon my IP. Now I'm on my desktop and it's showing Culpeper, Virginia. But what I've noticed is oftentimes, like from a mobile device, or sometimes if my IP changes or whatever, or if I'm on my laptop and I'm connected through a Wi-Fi, sometimes it won't be a city name. It'll be an actual zip code that shows up down here. Does that make sense? And so by adding or specifically adding targeted locations from at the broadest level, based upon this example, county, right? So if I type in Fairfax County, Virginia as my targeted location in Google Ads, that's going to target any area supposedly within that county, right? Does that make sense? But then if I go in and I add all the individual town names as well as separate targeting locations, it adds a second layer of targeting on top. And in Google Maps, or excuse me, Google Ads, you'll see that when you add the county, it makes that targeted county on the map, which is like a little map there, it'll make it like a very light blue color, showing that that's targeted. But then if you add the town names on top of that, for all the towns within that county as another or additional targeting option, you'll see that it adds a second layer on top of that initial county blue coloring. So it becomes a darker blue. And then if you go in and add all of the zip codes as well, it adds a third layer. So it becomes even darker blue. And so what happens is, especially with people searching for mobile devices, depending on how Google determines their location, sometimes it will be by town, sometimes it will be by zip code. It gives a much greater chance of your ad showing to them because it's relevant and you've covered all of those bases, right? I don't know if that makes sense to you guys or not, but that's what I do is I just go through and I extract all the town names and all of the zip codes just using zip-codes.com. I clean it, then I bring it into a notepad file like this and I format it. So I would go actually copy all of these zip codes, all of these names. I would append comma, Virginia, comma, United States to each one of these items. Then I would dedupe anything, right? So if there's any duplicates, I would dedupe that. And then I would copy this text file and paste it in as my targeted locations and select target all. And what that does is, again, it adds multiple layers of targeting. It's very specific targeting, but it adds multiple layers so that it almost ensures that your ad gets shown to people no matter how Google sees their location, if that makes sense. All right, so that's a very powerful pro tip there. It works really well, especially when targeting people with mobile devices. And lastly, there's one other thing that I found you can be even more granular, and that's why I brought up Wikipedia, is if I go here to Wikipedia and go to Fairfax County, Virginia, and I click through, if I come over here where it says communities, right? And most all on Wikipedia, if you search for your county that you're targeting, the Wikipedia page for that county will typically always have a communities, jump link, which is right here. And so you'll see that it says that these are the communities as well as the census designated places and other communities. I don't know about the other communities so much, but I know that the census designated places, there's more of those here than what was listed in the zip-codes data. Does that make sense? The zip-codes data, if I were to dedupe this, it's only going to have about 23 location names. But you can see that there's more than 23 in this list right here where it says census designated places. So you can actually go through and extract those names and do the same thing as where I said append comma dash Virginia comma Virginia comma United States to each one of the additional locations that are listed here that weren't in this zip-codes data, and then target those also. And again, that what you end up with is your targeted locations in Google Ads becomes really, really, really dark blue, because it's got 3 layers of targeting options on it. And it almost guarantees that your ads are going to be shown to people no matter where they are within the county. So that's kind of a power tip there, guys. Hopefully you understand what I said. So I went through it rather quick. Next question, BB. He's got multiple questions. I wouldn't expect anything less from BB. What's up, BB? He says, I know that it is not the proper way to do press releases like PR stacking, but how do you think Google treats a site that has 20 press releases linking to it with different text, but each PR has 2 links with different anchor text, but with the same, I guess, URL maybe? Meaning 20 PRs with 2 links with the same hrefs, but all the text and anchors text are different. I just always wonder what the hell you're doing, baby. Marcus scratching his head. Look.
No, because I have no idea what he's talking about. So he has 20 press releases, 2 links in each press release. What does hrefs have to do with anything?
I think he's talking about URLs, the same 2 URLs in every press release, but different anchor text.
So you're hammering the same URL directly with the 20 press releases?
Yeah, I think that's what he's saying. The same 2 links in every single PR, but they each have different anchor text in each instance.
So you have 20 press releases, and supposing that those 20 only have a distribution of 150 sites each. Now you're talking about 3,000 websites potentially linking back to those 2 pages from those press releases or to that page. Is that what you're saying? I have no idea what you're saying.
Yeah.
Even if the anchor text is different, you're still hammering the same page.
Yeah.
That's unnatural as hell.
I agree. I totally agree. I mean, I wouldn't do that. And again, I'm always curious as to why, because you've got some interesting questions, BB, and it would be nice to have some context as to why these questions about using, building links from the same handful of domains. We went through weeks of questions about how many links can you get from one specific domain before they're not, beneficial. And now this is similar, right? It's kind of in the same neighborhood of that type of a question. And again, I wouldn't recommend it.
I don't like to speculate. Right? They're asking, or BB's asking us to speculate how Google would treat it. There's no telling. You might get hammered. You might not. That's the best I can give you from that supposition question.
And not only that, but we just talked to Marco, just talked about the press release stacking, and that's really the best way that we found to do it. And in fact, I just started implementing. Marco and I have done the PR stacking slightly different, but based upon Marco's recommendation, he is absolutely the better SEO. So I've been doing it another way for quite some time, but within just the last couple of weeks, I started implementing his specific PR stack method, which is just using 2 links as opposed to 3 in each PR. And I'm waiting to see the results come in from that. But yeah, I mean, it's much better to just create a link wheel with your press releases and link from one press release to the previous press release in that chain, right? To create that daisy chain, that link wheel effect. And that way, like your initial press release, the top of the stack would be linking to your money site page, but all the subsequent press releases in that silo stack, they don't link back to that money page at all. They link to the previous press release and maybe one of your other tier 1 entity assets, but that's it. 2 links per press release. And not, so you're not constantly hitting the same, your money site with the same, press releases over and over and over again, because what you're doing is you're using one press release with the link back to your money site page, and then you're stacking press releases to link back to that original press release. And you can build so much power and relevancy that way. And I think that's the better way to do it. That's a hell of a lot more natural looking for your money site than to keep hammering away at the same 2 URLs over and over and over again with the same PR distribution network over and over and over again, if that makes sense. So
yeah, and I'm gonna say it again. I don't even recommend hitting the money site with a press release unless you really know what you're doing and you've really created.
Oh, I do it all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, but you need to create a good pillow, and
Yeah.
you need to know what you're doing. What we actually tell you is extend your SEO shield, get that extension, get that inner page on that G site and that inner drive stack, and then aim the press release at that, which is then focusing on the top level category on the inner page on your website. Everything is mirrored. You can even mirror that category partially with your press releases. And now what you're doing is you're amplifying the effect. I mean, you can get really good results if you go to one of your website pages from the press release, but you better know what you're doing because it's going to get a lot of power. Once you start blasting those press releases with link building, it's going to get a lot of power to that page from that silo, from that press release stack.
All right, just for clearance, I guess clarification, it means if somebody will buy a new domain tomorrow with 0 backlinks and no history at all, and say he connects the shield to it and will post a long form content, then it will rank faster than without the shield, and it won't get hit with the sandbox, even if it even exists. Also, do tell it, yes, the sandbox does exist. It's just, well, it's the Google dance essentially. No, I mean, will it rank faster than without the SEO shield? I mean, likely, but it's not necessarily the speed that we're looking for. It's whether it will rank at all or not. And just adding a long form content and an SEO shield may not be enough. It likely, it depends on the keyword. Sometimes you get lucky and it's a very uncompetitive keyword, and just adding an SEO shield to a project where you're targeting, whatever keyword it is, will end up ranking. But that's really the exception to the rule. Typically, it's going to require some sort of off-page work. That's where we talk about the press releases. That's where we do link building and embed gigs. That's where you can do, like if you've got GMB associated with the project, you can do GMB posts and link back to your entity assets, your SEO shield, your money site itself, the page that you're trying to rank. Right? So that's all what I consider off-page. And that's 99% of the time, or 95% of the time, I should say, you're going to need some sort of off page in order to get the benefit that you're looking for. Comments?
Yeah, because it's the art of art. Because we recommend activity, relevance, trust, and authority. We're not to say, okay, so build a shield, build some long form content, and you're going to rank. That's not what we're saying. See, these are all it depends questions, BB, that you always ask. This totally depends. What are you targeting? You are not going to rank for DUI Toronto with long form content and an SEO shield. Not going to happen.
No.
It's not going to happen. Now, if you pick gobbledygook, it's going to happen because nobody's trying to rank for that. All right. Now, you're always going to need to make sure that that entity is solidified. And what we do in that first 90 days, through the SEO shield, through Bradley's brand, ads for branding course, through the press releases and through everything else, is to begin that effect of this entity getting activity. Otherwise, one of the 3 pillars of the art of art is missing, which is activity on all of these links that you're driving over to this website that should not be ranking in the first place. Remember that, right? You shouldn't be ranking because it's brand new. Google isn't even supposed to pick it up. We force Google into doing it because we're going through Google. We're going through that G site, through that drive stack. We're going through GMB whenever we can. And I'm even doing it for national campaigns, by the way, or for national projects. There's a specific way that you can use that to further solidify the entity and works like gangbusters. But all right, so we do the initial SEO shield and link building. Then I wait out the 21 day. What Dedia says, here you go. The link building is finished. I wait out 21 days. So now we're out. I don't know how long it takes to build the SEO shield. From the time the shield is built and Dedia tells me hit it with link building, it's done. I still wait 21 days because I want to know what effect everything has on my rankings, what effect it has on the GMB, if I have one, what effect it has on the drive site, on the G site, on the money site that I'm trying to rank, if it's brand new. Is it getting movement? Is it still getting the bounce effect? Did it drop from rankings? Do I need to wait longer? These are, okay, so at the Heavy Hitter Club, what I'm teaching people is we have to be data scientists. We have to be able to analyze data. We have to be able to interpret the data, and then we have to be able to act upon the data. But the keyword here is data. We need data in order to know what the hell is going on. Without that, then again, you're flying a plane blind, and you don't know where you're going. You sure as fuck don't know whether you can land that plane. But that's actually what you're doing. Now, when you take that data and you analyze it and you can act upon that data, that's when it starts to happen, because that's when you get the extensions, and that's when you do the keyword targeting, and that's when you do the isolations. That's when you can run more stack. You run embed gigs, you run further link building. I mean, we're doing a 10 million link test, and coming up, which we'll probably share in the Heavy Hitter, I'm going to do 1 billion. You heard that?
Wow.
Does it work? I'm going to do 1 billion link test. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. 1 billion link test, and more, because I've been told that we can do unlimited link building, and you don't ever tell me that and have me not see what we can try to break with that. But yeah, so we got 10 million working. The next step will be 100 million, and then we're going to jump again 10x to 1 billion and see what happens. But these are all things that we're testing, again, to gather the data and to know what the next step is in the process, because it's all a process. It's a repeatable process that helps us to get to where we want to be, whether it's in the map pack, whether it's organic, whether it's both, whether you're looking for both, it all depends.
We got 2 Hernans.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh yeah.
He's multiplying. I don't know if we can handle another or not. All right, next question is how to tell Google to rank a page with long form content, because without it, it won't be possible. No, that's not true.
No,
you can rank with short form content. I prefer long form content, but you can absolutely brute force and through off page SEO rank for short form content. I just prefer long page because it requires less off page if the content is structured correctly, well written, and it's relevant. Right. That's what I'm talking. So I prefer long form content because it requires less off page to achieve results. But it doesn't mean you can't. Marco's done it millions of times, or dozens and dozens of times. I've done it sometimes where I can rank thin content, but it just requires a lot more off page. So just to be clear about that. He says, so let me get back to the question. How to tell Google to rank a page with long form content with 2 different keywords that are not LSI related, meaning like muscle dog food and digestion dog food. Well, those are related keywords, right?
Yeah.
They're both related keywords because like the overall term I would target in that case would be dog food. And then throughout the long form content, you could target or mention or have header sections and in summer, descriptions of each different type of dog food that there is. And so those are absolutely related keywords. They're topically relevant to the broader keyword of dog food. Does that make sense? So you could technically target, all the different types of dog food, which I don't know all the different types of dog food, but you could target in long form content. Let's say you had a 3,000 word article that had 8 different types of dog food on them, described or highlighted within the article itself. Then you could have, and again, we talked about using jump links. I'm not going to get into that, but you could have like a table of content. Anytime I use long form content, now I put the table of contents at the top of with the jump links back down to that section. But then you could, that would be like a dog food category on your site, right? That's a silo. Then you could have supporting articles that would target individual types of dog food that would link to that long form page, that dog food page. And again, that's just standard silo architecture. And the reason I like to use long form content is because in the past, when trying to separate out like dog food as your top level and then using a complex silo structure, we would end up having, muscle dog food. And I don't know that those, I've never heard of that, but let's say muscle dog food would be a subcategory and digestion dog food would be another subcategory. Then you add a bunch of width or breadth to your topical category. And then you can add depth, right? Supporting articles to each one of those subcategories. The problem with that is that's a complex silo structure, and it is just what the name implies. It's complex. And so what I've switched my method, the way that I build sites now is I'd use simple silo architecture, which is just top level categories and then supporting articles, and long form content where I used to create subcategories, I compile all of that onto the long form top of silo page and use jump links. And then that way, all I have to do is a simple silo structure with posts that I would, supporting articles as posts, publish as posts that would link up to that top category page, because there is no subcategories, if that makes sense. And I do it that way because it's a much easier site to manage. And so I try to stick with simple silo structure at every chance that for every project now, specifically for that. And that's where I found formatting long form content with jump links and headers and that kind of stuff is the way that you can accomplish the same thing that you could with a complex silo structure, but keep your site architecture much easier to manage. So I don't know if that was clear or not. Anybody want to comment on that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where he's getting the long form content information, because that's absolutely false. Without it, it won't be possible to rank in Google. That's not true. You don't even have to have your own content. You can rank an iframe of somebody else's content.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
No, we've done it. We've done it time and again. Yeah. Can you do? Yeah, you can do it, and you can do it for multiple keywords, not just one. And so I don't know where you're getting that information. I'd say either stop listening to whoever's saying this, or it's probably someone who doesn't know how to rank without long form content. It's one or the other, because I don't see how anyone can test the different ways that there are to rank. You can rank an image, you can rank a video. That's not long form. So no, this is absolutely not so. And like Bradley said, dog food is the category, so they're totally semantically related. I mean, they're directly semantically related. Digestion and muscle, when they both have to do with dog food.
So and again, I just prefer long form content because it gives me the ability to keep my site structure as a simple silo, and I like that because it's so much easier to manage. It really is. I got just tired of banging my head against the wall trying to figure out how to manage complex silo sites. They're just a pain in the ass. Anyway, Aaron's up. He says, "Are you noticing Facebook is becoming more grumpy? Facebook continuously wants to send a code to log in and send SMX text to verify account ownership. Is anyone else finding this to be excessive?" I haven't experienced that at all.
No.
Yeah, that happens. Specifically right now, well, I mean, they went on like red alert during the election season, but now that they are quote unquote over, it should go back to normal. But yes, that is something that's happening. In fact, it's happening randomly across the board. So if you get like an SMS verification or something like that, you can even do Google Authenticator. So if you set up a two-factor authenticator, you can do Google Authenticator, which is an app that you download to your phone, and then it will give you a QR code that you take a picture of. And that QR code will allow you to come up with a random 6-digit number. So that's another option for 2FA or two-factor authenticator, which I think is going to be enforced across the board on Facebook. Now, with that being said, that could be the case that you can be asked for ID for verification through SMS, but also sometimes they will even ask you to upload your ID, and that has happened. It's normal. It happens, and sometimes it's randomly happening to some accounts. So yeah, that's the way. I mean, that's the way Facebook is going, and Facebook, in lieu of or in regards to security, I think they will start enforcing two-factor authentication. In fact, for everyone running ads on Facebook, it's almost mandatory that you need to have two-factor authentication enabled on your Facebook account. So,
have I ever told you guys that I hate Facebook?
I think you did, yeah.
It's a necessary evil.
I know it is, but I can't stand it. Anyways, I had a page that for my Alpha Land Realty business, I set up a page, but I can't remember what I did. I did something where, anyways, I ended up removing myself as the manager, the only admin of the page somehow. And I think I was trying to move it from one business account to another because I was planning on running ads or something. Anyways, I ended up removing myself as the manager of the admin, and I was the only admin. So I contacted Facebook Help to tell them, like, hey, I created this page, but I somehow accidentally removed myself as an admin. They made me jump through hoops, and I'm not kidding. Like, I had to draft the document and then go get it notarized, and then sent the notarized document to them, swearing that I was the one that created the account and that I had authorization to become an admin of the account, even though I was the one that created it. Anyways, it was some bullshit. And I was furious, and it took like a week and a half to get it finally to get access back to the very page that I created. There was never any other admins either. So it's just whatever. Fuck Facebook. Google. Mark always says fuck Google. I say fuck Facebook.
And you got a result. Like, it only took a week. So that's not too bad. I've heard of people that, they're still battling with Facebook to get back ownership of an ad account. So
yeah,
you got the bright side of things. So
I guess if you can call it that.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Next question. BB says, when a nofollow link gets juice, or does it never get juice? At the end of the day, if a strong site approved by your link, then it should tell Google this site is legit and does what it says and has no harming content. I'm not sure what you mean. Now, a nofollow link does not pass PageRank, if that's what you're asking. I'm not sure that that's what you're asking. So I'm not really sure what the question is here. Just somebody else interpreting a question here?
When a nofollow link gets juice, when you link build to a nofollow link,
I still do it.
Or does it pass? It doesn't pass PageRank according to Google.
Yeah.
That's not us. That's Google. That's the nofollow is a bot directive that tells the bot not to pass any PageRank. What you get is the trust and authority from the website without accruing PageRank, which is almost as good. I mean, we've seen Wikipedia links that are just fantastic for SEO. Now, what he's meaning about, does it tell Google the site is legit and does what it says, has non-harming? No, I mean, how can you transmit all that to Google? It just says no follow. It gives you trust and authority, but everything else is going to come according to the users and the user information that Google gets back. They don't know if your content is harming or non-harming. You're going to have to try to, BB, I don't mind answering your questions, but try to frame them better. I understand there might be a language problem, but I'm not really getting what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the question is.
It doesn't tell Google that nofollow, in fact, does not tell Google that the site is legit. It tells Google that not to count the link for PageRank purposes, not to pass. Now, websites like Wikipedia have such high trust and authority according to Google, not according to any other metrics. Like, I don't care about any other metrics. It has so much authority and trust that it does pass that along. So it's kind of getting like a vote without passing PageRank, but it doesn't tell Google that the site is legit. What eventually is going to tell Google whether the site is legit and whether the content is harming or non-harming are what the users transmit to Google and what the bot finds on your website.
Engagement metrics.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Now, this was 5 years ago, but I remember nofollow links are supposed to not pass PageRank, and so older SEO methodology was, that you should always try to do follow links and blah blah blah. But you have to have a good natural looking link profile, and so a natural looking link profile is going to contain a lot of nofollow links, right? I mean, depending on number of links that you have, but there should be a fairly high percentage of nofollow links. I had one client project where somebody was negative SEOing them, and for their primary keyword, it was a local project, so it was like plumbing plus city, whatever that was. I think it was Manassas. They haven't been a client for years, but I think it was like plumbing Manassas VA or plumber Manassas VA or something like that. Anyways, long story short, somebody was negative SEOing them. And they built tens of thousands of no-follow links with exact match keyword anchor of that specific keyword. And guess what? The fucking site ranked #1 for that. And it was like, and I wondered what it was. And I went and started doing some backlink analysis on it, trying to figure out like what had happened. And all of a sudden I see tens of thousands of links that I didn't build. It was 100% exact match. Now I'm not telling anybody to do this, but they were no follow links and they were all exact match anchor text. And I ended up that site ranked #1 for that keyword. And I always thought that was the funniest thing because they backfired. Whatever the negative SEO or whoever that was, it backfired on them because we ended up ranking the damn site. Now, I never tried to duplicate that. I probably should have for testing purposes. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting because I mean, I was just doing like syndication network links. So in other words, you know, publishing content, the same method that I've been using for years. And all of a sudden, like the backlink profile shot up through the roof over the course of like 6 weeks or so. And it was tens of thousands of exact match anchors for one keyword. And it just so happened that we were ranking #1 for that one keyword after that. So I always thought that was funny because they say no follow links don't really count for anything. And I think that's bullshit. At least that was years ago. It may have changed since then. You want to comment on that at all, Marco?
No, I mean, we know.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Next is BB's got 2 more. I guess we're about out of time. So this is good timing. He says, do you use Google Tag Manager for some reason? If so, which tags do you recommend? Yeah, I use Google Tag Manager all the time because I'm always running Google Ads. I'm setting up remarketing campaigns through Google Ads. So I use Google Tag Manager to set up all my Google Ads tags, right? So there's the conversion linker tag, the remarketing tag, then there's the conversion, Google Ads conversion tracking tag. I also use Google Tag Manager to set up Google Analytics. So I install the Google Analytics Universal Analytics tracking tag through Google Tag Manager. I also, depending on which type of WordPress theme I'm using, sometimes I set my JSON LD, my structured data, my schema through Tag Manager as well. That's not the recommended way to do it. But in some cases, some of the sites that are the WordPress themes that I use, they don't like the front page doesn't have its own like page and WordPress pages, and there's no way to insert code on it's odd. I've got a couple of themes that I use for local stuff that I have to use Tag Manager to add structured data to the home page. There's no other way to do it unless I inserted it directly into the theme files, which I don't want to do. So yeah, I use Tag Manager for all of that stuff. You know, I love Tag Manager because it's really easy to manage. You know, it push everything through Tag Manager and it automatically will deploy to the site. So again, I like Tag Manager. I use it mostly for Google Ads stuff, but also for a few other things.
And I use it too for Facebook. Like with Facebook, you can do really advanced stuff with Google Tag Manager that you cannot usually do with just the Facebook pixel. You know, unless you hack the code or whatever. So, you know, you can throw anything in it. You can throw, like, if you have a Hotjar script, like if you have whatever, like split testing scripts, like you can throw anything at it. And the good news about Google Tag Manager is that it will prevent your website from loading slower because you have all of these scripts directly loading in the page. So I think that, you know, I love Google Tag Manager as well. I use it for Facebook, for some Facebook advanced stuff on pixels, but yeah, for sure. Definitely.
By the way, this guy, his name is like Julian or something, Julius, or I don't know. I think it's Julian. Anyways, measureschool.com. He's got fantastic training on Google Tag Manager and analytics. And he's a total data nerd, which is, I mean, it's cool. He's got a really, and it's at least it used to be, I don't know if it still is, but he has some free training on Tag Manager. When I first started learning how to use Tag Manager, it was through Measure School. He's got a great YouTube channel as well with tons of free content that talks about how to set up analytics and Tag Manager, set up custom event tracking with Tag Manager and analytics. So like, for example, you can set up like scroll tracking, like scroll depth tags so that they fire once a certain scroll, like 25% or 50%. You can set up timer tracking. There's all kinds of cool stuff that you can do with Tag Manager and analytics. And Measure School, like he's got a ton of free stuff on his YouTube channel and on his blog here that will teach you how to do all that stuff. So anytime I have to set something up that I'm not real familiar with Tag Manager or analytics, I just go to Measure School and I find it. And it's great. And again, he's got a really good YouTube channel as well. So I recommend you check that out. Last question is, it's not matter if it's PRs or article directories, the focus is the same two links. Okay, I think he's talking about the first question that he asked. He's saying that he wants to keep targeting the same two links, whether it's through press releases or article directories. And again, I would caution against that, BB, because as we, at least our methodology has been set up the SEO shield, and you do all of your external link building to the SEO shield assets or tier 1 entity assets, right? Instead of direct to your money site, which is what you keep asking about here. And we don't recommend that because it's very easy to set unnatural link profile if you're constantly hammering, especially the same two URLs over and over again. I don't recommend that. So I would highly recommend that you work on, utilizing the SEO shield and tier 1 entity assets as your link building targets, right? You can pass all the relevancy through how you link from your entity assets back to your money site, but then do all of your external link building to your tier 1 entity assets so that you're protecting your money site and you don't run the risk of that unnatural link profile. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Josh says, for our GMB profile, and I know we're out of time, guys. Last question. For our GMB profile, should we list the entire states we do business in or just our cities? Well, with GMB, I think you're only allowed to list up to 20 locations as service area locations. I think it's 20. So what I do again is what I was talking about, Josh, earlier with, looking at the data here, I just target on a county level, or if perhaps if it's a service area business, typically they'll cover the whole county, but not always the case, right? So I'll just cover on whatever their area is. So for example, like I don't usually target, I talk about layering location targeting when you're setting up Google Ads, and I try to layer inside of Google My Business to a degree. Like in other words, if a tree service company services all of Fairfax County, and then there's 23 towns within Fairfax County, but Google limits my ability in GMB to add only up to 20 service area locations, then I obviously can't add Fairfax County and then also add the 23 separate, I'd be over limit. And then also there's all those zip codes too. So I don't do that. So in that case, I would do the county, and then I would do, the primary locations, or just the county, and that's it, if that makes sense. What I was talking about for doing this is specifically for ad targeting. But for GMB profile, yeah, like unless your service area is an entire state, I wouldn't list the state as the service area. I would keep it specific to whatever the service area is in reality for that particular business. Okay. All right. Thanks everybody for being here. We will see you guys next week.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, guys.